Shout out to Darren McNeil for sending me this article right here. But before I get into it, I wanted to give an update about Cynthia Baker before I go into this. Now, it's been a while since I've done a story about Rika Rountree. That was a story that I've been following for a while now. The last update that I gave was her sperm donor, known as her dad, not known as her dad to me, because I refuse to refer to anyone like that as a father. He was sentenced to, I think it was 8 years in prison for the role he played in the death, or should I say murder, of his daughter, which he is currently in jail right now. And the last thing, one of the more recent things that have come out before what I'm about to talk about, was about Cynthia Baker, in which on September 4th, she is going to be going back to court because the last time I talked about her, they had she had wanted to get a new trial because she felt she got railroaded in the last one. She didn't. She got exactly what she deserved. She just didn't want to serve that sentence. But they're going back to court on September 4th to see if she's granted a new trial. So let's hope and keep those fingers crossed that they do not grant her a new trial, because if they do not, 9 times out of 10, she will be sentenced to life in prison, which is exactly what she deserves. She really actually deserves the death penalty, but what can I do? But that's pretty much I wanted to talk about right there. So the next time I probably talk about Cynthia Baker in a video will be right around that September 4th region. But now I want to talk about Rika Rountree's mother, Anntoinetta, who is the one you see right here. Can't you see how happy she is right here? She was really happy with her mother. She was very secure with her. It's unfortunate that what happened with her mother, her mother had to go to jail for like 2.5 years because they did a raid at her home and they had found drugs. So that's why she had to go. And that's why they left her in custody with the sperm donor. And as you can see, that led to her untimely demise. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It says DCFS responds after Rika Rountree's mother protests outside Bloomington office, because she's going after them now because she feels that they could have done more, and they could have when it came to the well-being of her. But I find that organizations like that always drag their ass when it comes to the welfare and well-being of black children in the system, or when they're in custody with the same people. The same thing happened with Devontae Hart and his siblings. They dragged their ass. And if they had responded quicker, like when the neighbors was trying to warn them, then his family would still be alive today. Maybe. The mother of Rika Rountree, the Bloomington 8-year-old who was murdered by her sperm donor's girlfriend in January 2019, protested outside the Bloomington DCFS office on Monday. She called for changes to be made within the agency. Anntoinetta Rountree lost custody of her child after a drug raid at her home. The mother, who served 2.5 years in prison for forgery and DUI charges, has admitted in the past that she failed her daughter. Well, at least she can admit that, because some won't even do that. So I will give her that. But she said she was not the only one that failed, citing the numerous times DCFS visited Rika when she was staying at her sperm donor's home. They are still barely doing their jobs. They are a mediocre agency doing mediocre work. I don't see any changes in the work they are doing. Rountree said the agency put too much trust in Rika's sperm donor, Richard Rountree, and his bitch, Cynthia Baker. There has to be something in place to make sure that when kids are being investigated or when there are signs of abuse, that they find out if the child is abused. Taking an abuser's word for it, that's just not okay for me, added Anntoinetta. Illinois Department of Children and Family Services said they're not at fault, but of course they're going to say they're not at fault, because they don't want to have that blood on their hands by saying that they are. DCFS remains deeply saddened by the death of Rika Rountree and is committed to doing everything in our power to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future. The department has taken several steps to better serve vulnerable children and families, including providing additional training for more than 3,200 staff to help identify safety issues. DCFS takes every precaution to protect children and will continue its efforts to ensure those we serve can lead safe and healthy lives. And that came from the Deputy Director, Bill McCaffrey. Sperm donor was sentenced to 8 years in prison for child endangerment. The bitch, who was convicted of killing 8-year-old Rika in November 2019, is currently seeking a new trial. Anntoinetta said Baker does not deserve another chance. However, I will say this to Anntoinetta if she can hear me. I don't know if she does or she doesn't. If you just so happen to, I don't know, run across her, she's, by the way, Cynthia Baker is not out. I just want to put that out. She's still in jail. She's still in jail right now. But if by some chance you happen to actually run into her, I don't know, sideswipe that bitch. That's all I can say. Like, that's the that would be the perfect revenge. Just sideswipe that hoe. Rika didn't have a voice at all. Rika didn't listen to. Rika didn't. Nobody listened to her. Nobody cared about her rights or her life because it is gone now, said Anntoinetta. Yeah, that agency is just trying to remove themselves from any wrongdoing because they know if they do, that's going to be a stain onto them. Then they'll be investigated, and then, they'll probably lose money. So, of course, they have to step away and say that they're not at fault, even though they really are, because they did not, to me, seem to do any type of welfare checks like they were supposed to. Because if they had, they would have been seeing the bruises on this girl. This wasn't like, it wasn't a one thing where they came out there and they didn't see her, or they saw her and they didn't notice anything. I mean, even the school that she was going to was worried, why was she dressed a certain way when it was hot outside? Like, why is she wearing long sleeve shirts and it's scorching hot outside? It was to cover those bruises that she got at the hands of that bitch, Cynthia Baker, with the assistance of her sperm donor, Rountree. I still can't get those images out of my head of her holding up those cans. I can't. And I saw the bruises on her body. Like, they said, like, this girl was treated like a rag doll. Like, she had bruises, busted lips. I think she said she had chipped one of her teeth. Like, but she wants a new trial? She does not deserve a new trial, and I hope that judge sees right through her little act and doesn't grant her a new trial. Send that bitch up the river, please and thank you.